Microsoft has been aggressively gobbling up new game studios with its recent $7.5 billion acquisition of ZeniMax Media Group that includes Bethesda games, 23 studios under their belt, towering over the 16 offered by SIE or Sony Interactive Entertainment. Some of my birds were wandering the courtyard and heard that Microsoft isn't done acquiring studios, and this is just the beginning. Alrighty, Stallions and Stallionettes, welcome to the Gamer Heaven. I'm your host, KE30 Kevin. Sharing my screen over here. This article will be cited or sourced in the description below. So as I alluded to during the intro, currently Microsoft does own 23 game development studios that produce nothing but Microsoft in-house exclusives. As where SIE or Sony Interactive Entertainment currently has 16 studios, and this isn't a comparison. I mean, if it were a numerical comparison, I mean, 23 is a higher value than 16. However, you could always argue, well, there's better exclusives over there on Sony's side of the house, which I would have to agree with you on that. This video was literally not bashing PlayStation by any means or saying that Microsoft is better, not saying PlayStation's better, not saying Nintendo, the big red giants, better than Team Blue and Team Green. None of that. I own all these consoles and I enjoy all of them. This video is to cover this article right here, which is the fact that Microsoft still has its spoon out and they are still gobbling up studios. Phil Spencer says that Microsoft isn't quite done buying game studios. "I'm really proud of some of the creators that we've chosen to become part of Xbox," Spencer said during a Wall Street Journal Tech Live event. "We offer some financial stability for them. It's not about only the success of their next game. I want to give them some more creative capability, longer timelines when required to do their best work." Spencer then reiterated that Xbox Game Studios isn't opposed to bringing more studios on board if they can fit nice and tight. "Shit, we're always out there looking for people that we think would be a good match and teams that we think would be a good match for our strategy, buckaroo. So we're not done, not by a long shot, hottie. There's no quota, there's no kind of timeline we have to go by as to when we acquire these studios. Shit, there's no kind of quota and there's no timeline, I reckon, when I can acquire these studios. If I find a studio and I likes the way she looks, I'm gonna lock her in." I'm paraphrasing here. Xbox Game Studios, or XGS, currently houses a whopping 23 studios. Last year's ZeniMax Media acquisition, that's a $7.5 billion with a B dollar deal, boys, bolstered its numbers significantly, with Microsoft scooping up the likes of Bethesda Game Studios, you know, Fallout, Skyrim, that Bethesda, ID Software, and Arcane. Microsoft claims that it will retain each studio's individuality, which Spencer echoed during Tech Live. "There's amazing teams out there, and I want to be listening to those creators and getting the signal from each one of them as to what they're seeing through their peepers. What are they trying to create? And then challenging ourselves as a platform. Can we build the best platform for them so that they feel like they can do their absolute best work?" And that's an ongoing journey, right? It's not a destination. It's the journey. We'll be on that journey for years by having them be the best versions of themselves and not somehow, you know, all getting that kind of Xbox stamp. If they don't want to, it's fine. Keeping them independent is great. So I really do like that statement from Phil Spencer, and not to be, you know, for lack of a better word, on his jock, as the kids say or whatever, but he truly is very well spoken when he does these interviews, and I do think he's a good spokesperson, representative, and face of the Xbox brand. I am sorry, but I cannot say the same thing for Jimmy Boy Jim Ryan over there. In fact, I made a video about a week ago as to why he should step down as CEO or Chief Executive Officer of Sony's PlayStation division. But basically what Phil is saying with these statements here is that they're not trying to transform or change any of these studios. They can keep their individuality, they can keep their style, not only their production process of how they make a game, but also how their games look when they're done. And they're not going to change that just because they now belong to Microsoft and under that umbrella. Rather, they are going to give them a safe, warm, comfortable home for years to come. Basically, they are welcome to be part of the family. They don't have to live under dad's image. They don't have to go to Harvard because he did. They can be their own man or woman. There is no black sheeps of this family, so to speak. So some recent Microsoft Studio titles that were released is Psychonauts 2, which was met with relatively positive reviews, as well as Deathloop from Arcane, which was received relatively positively as well. And without a doubt, besides Halo Infinite and the upcoming Forza release, The most anticipated game would be Bethesda Studios' Starfield, which is coming out next year and is going to be the first big new single-player RPG since Fallout 4. Also noteworthy is Microsoft's recently acquired studio Obsidian, which is working on a big Skyrim-like RPG called Avowed, which we don't really know too much about at this time. So if we're just looking at the numbers, Microsoft has been throwing some big numbers. $7.5 billion for the acquisition of ZeniMax Media and its subsequent studios, leading up to having 23 studios on payroll. I do think Starfield is going to be another blockbuster hit for Microsoft, which is good because traditionally and historically, if we look at the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One era, Sony has been slapping the titties off of Microsoft with not only quality, but also quantity of noteworthy first-party exclusives. And while I do truly believe that Sony is going to continue to dish out some awesome titles such as God of War, Spider-Man, Gran Turismo, Ratchet & Clank, Returnal, etc., there are going to be some awesome titles on the Xbox console this generation. That is going to do it, Stallions. If you enjoyed this video, liking it will help it to get seen by more gamers. This information will reach in a system as well, which in turn helps me grow this channel, which I do greatly appreciate. Subscribe for more content like this. I cover news in the gaming community and industry, as well as tutorials helping you get set up streaming and YouTubing and honest gaming peripheral reviews. And I will see you tomorrow because I upload daily.